Good morning, America. David Smith here from Tucson, and we're just gonna kind of wrap up the Fasteners Guild symposium, Faceting Symposium, Tucson 25, and already I got folks contacting me that want to present for Tucson 26, so that's pretty cool. But a lot of you were there. Thank you for coming out. We had over 70 people the very first minute of the very first presentation. And we started out with Carrie Fifield bailing me out on how to set stones, because that was really highly anticipated. And Nikki Worthy had to cancel her trip. And so Carrie stepped in and did that. And she says, well, I figured there'd be about 5 people around my table. Well, then when it came time, that very first day, you better add a 0. There was about 50 people standing around her table. So she was able, the next couple days, to get the camera going, thanks to her husband, and have it a little more accessible to folks, because it was broadcast up onto the screen, and so you could see the fine detail that she was doing when she was setting stones. She did that every morning, all 3 mornings. It was just fabulous. Even during Tom Mitchell did dopping in the back room, and then we had, kind of out of the blue, Walter Green came, and he did a demonstration on how to refinish your sintered lap, using sandpaper and water and going round and around, marking it with a Sharpie. So that was all just amazing morning presentations during it. Our first presentation was Arya Akvan, always a popular presenter, because it's just like you're, sitting at the bar next to this guy talking about, synthetics. So his first one was the Verneuil Project update on this, nerd fest of scientists and people putting together ideas to grow new crystals and create some new colors and characteristics. And of course, looking at all the old stuff and analyzing some of that in order to determine what the elements were and so on. But he makes a sciencey talk just down to earth, and everybody can relate to it. We followed that up with lunch with 420 tacos, and that was good. We had the rough sale. Seemed like folks did real good. And you might be wondering, like, what's with this here? Well, after the gem show leaves, this coming weekend, we have La Fiesta de los Vaqueros, which means the big party of the cowboys. It's a rodeo here in Tucson, and it's part of the national rodeo circuit, where these people win thousands and thousands of dollars if they hold on long enough, and so on. So this is rodeo week. My kid dressed up as a cowboy today, so come on. We're a pair of cowboys, a little one and a big one, and we both have Stetsons. So after tacos and rough sale, we went to Noah Trappier, My Wood Lap Journey, talking about how he rediscovered wood as a polishing medium and decided to make wood laps, and he has a great variety of them that he's making. We went on to Tayyab Suratwala, What is Happening on the Surface of the Stone. And this was just a fantastic presentation where we saw blown up images of the different occurrences on the surface of the stone when you're polishing. And something I didn't know, that all oxides are creating a chemical polish. They're not grinding. They're doing some crazy chemistry in there. And he said, of course, only if you run out of water. Now you're grinding, but as long as you have it wet, you're creating a reaction between the stone and the oxide. So that was just fabulous to learn, to see under what, most of us, a microscope we don't own, would see. We went on to Steven Tyler, the designer, with a fantasy cutting demo on the Ultratech fantasy machine. And always a hit, always so helpful, always so friendly. Steven Tyler is absolutely an amazing cutter and a great person. After that, we had a little break, and then here come Amanda of USA Mine Gems. And, she's a nice break because she talks about faceting, she talks about finding minerals in the United States, but she shows us these pictures of the mountains in Colorado. And, after a day of like science and microscopes and elements and molecules and all that stuff, it's like sitting there looking at picture postcards. But folks are pulling out aquamarine and really great gemstones out of those hills way up in Colorado. So we always look forward to Amanda's presentation. The next day, February 7th, Carrie Fifield did again her stone setting, and again super popular. Mark Oros then followed up with a really great presentation about doublets and non-traditional materials, and he's already, since the symposium, gotten a few phone calls saying, now what do I glue, how do I do to what? And he's such a helpful mentor to faceters in this endeavor. So that was a great talk. And then did that one stone where he glued the opal on the culet, and then bam, that just came out everywhere in that stone. I just can't wait to see if I can give that a shot. Let's see. Then Farouk was supposed to talk about gem markets. I was busy eating tacos. I don't even know if that happened. But then we had a presentation on jet from Sarah Caldwell Steele. People literally told me, they're like, nah, I didn't think I was jet. Who cares? I wasn't expecting much. And there was a lot of folks there. And pretty much everybody said, wow, that was a great presentation. I learned way more about jet than I was expecting, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And I'm with Sarah that, jet, we're believing, is the oldest faceted material. And then, faceting, experts want to say, well, and they come up with all this nonsense about, well, you can't see through the stone. Well, blah, blah, blah. A facet is a facet. And I'm going to stick with what she and I both believe, is that is the oldest faceted material, because it was soft enough that you could rub it on something and create a really amazing pattern. And of course, folks were faceting jet long before any gemstones, and coming up with a lot of the techniques were used on gemstones. So we're going to call jet the pioneer. But really great presentation. We really enjoyed the pictures of the mummy and Dracula. So it was very, very fun and entertaining. Then we went to Roger Derry, another highly anticipated presentation about how to price your work. And that was a fabulous presentation that we all could use. Daniel Hu came and showed us some polishing tricks, and then we called it a night. So then Carrie Fifield again did her thing, and again very, 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 very heavily attended, followed by Arya Akvan doing his second presentation. Thank you, Arya, for 2 this year. We appreciate it. On the modern synthetics market. And that was really interesting because, one word that I heard over and over at this symposium was the story. The story of the gem, the story of the rough, the story of the cutting, the story. And I love, to me, the story is kind of what it's all about. And, that kind of, when you focus on the story, you're not being a high pressure used car salesman. You're telling the story of where did the gemstone come from, who and how do you know that person maybe? How did you cut it? What were the challenges in cutting it? And what he talked about was the story of synthetics. Who likes that? Who's your market? These young tech folks and people that are into lasers and computers and geeking out and stuff. So that was a fabulous presentation, and we learned a ton about it. And then we went right back to the lunch rough sale. Again, really well done. And then after lunch, Scott Suker came and gave us diamond cutting evolution. And again, you kind of like, well, I don't know. And then he's a great presenter and a great historian. And boom, here we got this fantastic explanation about diamonds, how they were just banging on them and making facets in the beginning, and how that evolved into what it is today. After that, another historian that always a popular presenter, Justin Prim. What is the point of faceting? I always like presentations that start with a question and they end up answering that question. That was a very, very well received talk. After that, Ron Snelling. Well, first, and then I wrapped up. I did a big blah, blah, blah that really didn't say anything. And then Ron Snelling showed us fantasy cutting on the Ultratech fantasy machine with the VL mast. So that's a new setup that's been created by Ultratech. So if you have a VL, you can just get a different setup for the fantasy and off you go. And then we wrapped it up, like we like to, with somebody big and famous, and that is Victor Tuzlakov, the story of one peridot. And that's all he would tell me when he signed up and scheduled his time. And then, of course, a month or so later, here we start seeing this egg, this peridot egg that he cut that had the most facets of any peridot cut in the Book of World Records, Guinness Book of World Records, and the largest peridot cut also in the Guinness Book of World Records. So 2 entries on one stone, and this is probably his 3rd or 4th time creating a stone that gets into the Book of World Records. So we wrapped it up with that, and folks came up and looked at the egg, which he placed just sitting on the table. And so I was standing there, I felt like I was a Secret Service agent guarding that darn egg and telling everybody, please don't touch the table, please back away, please don't touch the table. And Matt came up to me afterward, he goes, you know, Dave, I've never seen you that nervous. And that's true, I was nervous for that egg. And of course the egg, after Victor wrapped it up, he just puts it in a plastic bag and off he goes. And it was at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Society show. Afterwards, it was in a case and we got to see it again. And that was awesome. So then after the USFG wraps up at 5 o'clock, we reset the room, moved all the tables around, and we start the Old Pueblo Lapidary Club. That's our host, and we'd like to thank them for hosting our symposium every year. We switch over from the Fasteners Guild to the Old Pueblo Lapidary Club's Hobnob Dinner, which has been going on, I believe, longer than the symposium, maybe upwards of 40 years of fasteners getting together for a Saturday night dinner. Now, it used to be pizza. When I came along, I said, no, we're not doing that. So we got a real good, the 420 Taco guys came in and catered that. We had flautas and beans and rice and I don't know what, and people got churros for dessert, and it was a real good dinner. And rough sale for the Old Pueblo Lapidary Club, and they had a raffle. And congratulations to all the raffle winners. At the United States Fasteners Guild, we gave away a mountain of stuff. 3 bat laps from Ultratech, 1 huge $600 transfer fixture from Ultratech, so you add that up. We got a transfer fixture from Wyatt Yeager. We got a polishing kit, the big one, the good one, from John Rolfe every year. So generous. We really appreciate our sponsors. I'm not going to mention the rough sellers because Dan was running that show, and I won't remember all their names, but we must have had 8 or 10 or 12 rough sellers giving rough for our door prizes. And wow, I mean, I won Umba Sapphires. I'd never had an Umba Sapphire in my life. So I was blown away. I won that. And Clayton Oberquell, he won a pocket full of zircons. He said, this is going to pay for my trip. Now he's going to have to cut them, so he's putting something into it. But wow, the door prizes were just incredibly generous. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to our members that show up and listen and applaud and give us, you know, everything we're looking for. That's why we do this, is for you to come and attend and learn and enjoy. So share that knowledge, share the love, share the excitement, and we look forward to Franklin coming up at the end of July this year, Franklin 25, and then we'll move on to Tucson 26. Before you know it, it'll be 2030, but don't even get me started there. So thank you to all of our presenters. You blow my mind, honestly. The generosity with your information, your time, and your mentorship of all of us fasteners is truly inspiring. So thank you, and peace. I want to thank you to our volunteers, the board that came, so Carrie, but I'll also mention Doug and Dan sitting in the back of the room, running the raffles, passing out the tickets. I mean, they're doing the hard work. So thank you to all of our USFG volunteers and everybody for showing up. And Chino's Hot Dogs. for bailing me out on that second day when 420 Tacos had a conflict. Chino's Hot Dogs stepped up, selling Sonoran dogs, and that seemed to be a hit as well. So thanks for attending. I look forward to seeing you somewhere, on the internet or in real life. Bye-bye.